Hi, Bright.
Hi, good
Hi.
morning.
How are you?
I'm fine. Wait, can you see me? Okay,
Better.
it's better.
Okay.
Good morning.
So
Great.
today we are joined by Bright, who we will be chatting about her student experience on campus, her academic experience, how she's got involved on campus, and then also we'll even throw it back to her journey to Canada.
Okay.
Um, so to start it off, Bright, I'll actually pass it over to you to introduce yourself. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I'll get you to introduce yourself and give us your name, your program, campus, that sort of stuff.
Okay. Hi guys, my name is Bright. I'm Lika Onogu. I'm from Nigeria, Delta State. I'm in the chemistry program. I'm my third year. Yeah. And I'm an international student.
Awesome. And you're on the Thunder Bay campus. So to help our viewers get to know you a bit more, can you share us a fun fact about yourself that not many people maybe know?
Okay. I love cooking.
Hmm.
I cook for fun and I cook for as a stress reliever. I
For
use
sure.
it to ease my stress and all.
So what sort of things do you cook?
Oh, I cook mostly Nigerian food,
Hmm.
but starting this summer, I want to diverse into um, um, other food, other country food, like Canadian food, Italian food, other food. Yeah.
Awesome. So, do you have a specific type of food that you want to learn how to cook this summer, like a specific region of the world or specific dish even?
No, I just want to keep my options wide open, like broad, so I can learn and not just say, okay, I'm sticking to this. I just want to see things and say, okay, I want to try this, and
For sure. Where do you get your recipes typically? Obviously, I know that you probably got most of your Nigerian recipes from your family and back
yeah.
home, and maybe found some online too. But for the ones that you're looking at trying, where do you think you'll get those recipes?
Um, so you can get most of the recipes like at the superstore, like the
Hmm.
curry, the tea tomatoes, the mixed veggies, like almost everything is here. It's just that additional stuff like stockfish and all that stuff that you have to like now go to maybe request for somebody that's coming over, or you can go over to Toronto and they have a store there, an African store there. Yeah.
Awesome. And I know I just recently heard that somebody in Thunder Bay opened a store that was bringing in foods, like exporting foods from Africa,
Yeah.
on a broader scale, so like all over the entire continent of Africa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
True.
Um, so the first thing we're going to chat about today, we're going to do four Instagram lives throughout the hour. So they are four different parts. The first part, we're going to chat about you and kind of what made you want to study in Canada
Okay.
and what made you choose Lakehead University. And then in part two, we'll talk about your journey to Canada, what you were nervous for, what you were excited for,
Okay.
what the whole travel experience was, and obviously the travel experience to Lakehead too.
Yeah.
The third part, we'll talk about academics.
Okay.
And me and Braid have already had a conversation about some of her academic experiences. And there's some very interesting things that we're going to talk about. I'm really excited for that. And then the last part we'll chat about is getting involved on campus and how Bright's been a part of the Global Ambassador Program, and as well as participating in lots of AFCASA events, which is a club on campus. Can you remind me what the club's name is?
It's a
AFCASA?
African Caribbean Student Association.
Okay, yeah. Awesome. So, like I said, the first one we'll chat about is just getting to know you and kind of what made you want to study abroad in Canada, and then what made you want to pick Lakehead too.
Yeah.
So I'll pass it off to you. Can you kind of share your experience with what made you want to study abroad in Canada and what you were doing back home before you left?
Okay. Coming to Canada, I was already an undergraduate at the University of a university in Nigeria, but situations changed and I had to come over. But I was told that coming over, you have to do high school, and then it will be easier for you to Passover. So I did 1 year of high school, and I got used to the Canadian weather and all that stuff. And then when it was time to choose university, I was like, oh, okay. First of all, Lakehead gave me their school fees is really competitive, like really cheap, and it was far. No, it was cheap and far, but it was a small, like, Lakehead is a small university where you can interact with your lecturers one on one. So I was like, okay, I love to be able to express myself. I'm not shy, but I feel like it would be better for me to be able to ask questions one on one with my lecturers, right? So I was like, okay, Lakehead is the best for me.
Awesome. So obviously speaking to that and the fact that um, we've really like committed as an institution to provide that experience where even as we continue to grow and grow our campus, that we hire more faculty members so that we can keep our student faculty ratio down. So on our Thunder Bay campus, for every 15 students, we have one faculty member.
Yeah.
And then on our Aurelia campus, for every 13 students, we have one faculty member. So it's really important for us to see that value and the fact that students can easily approach their faculty members
Yeah.
and get help where they need it.
Yeah.
So it's great to see that that kind of helped you make a decision because you saw the value in our smaller classroom sizes for sure.
Yeah. It's really good
Sorry.
to have a small like class that you can be able to be free to ask questions and talk about stuff, you know. And the girls get to know you one on one, you know.
For sure, yeah. Could you also speak to kind of what I know that your journey to Lakehead was slightly more unconventional because you had done the full year in a high school program in Toronto area, like the GTA,
Yeah.
and then kind of that journey itself to the high school and then applying into your undergrad.
Yeah. So you want me to talk about it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Going to high school in Toronto was just it was tough. You would think that high school is just high school, but then coming from where I'm coming from, it's not just high school. I told you I was my second year at the university, but most of the things they taught me in the high school, I'd not done it at the university level. So it was hard. So I had to adjust. That was when I learned that you have to ask questions, you have to meet other people. You don't know it all, right? You have to level down and ask questions so you can be able to move to the next level. Yeah, and then moving to Thunder Bay, it was um, it was both scary and exciting because I already made family. I already had family in Toronto. I had friends in Toronto, and most of them were going to stay back in Toronto. So I was like, ah, am I making the right choice? Am I doing the right thing? And then my parents are like, you have to consider the school fees is cheap. I'm a Nigerian, so yeah, the school fees is cheap. They gave me scholarships, yeah. So my parents are like, you just have to consider. So leaving my friends, well, I was like, oh, am I going to find new friends? Are people going to be able to tolerate me? I was excited to that, okay, I'm going to be able to be independent. I'm going to be on my own. I'm going to make decisions and stuff. But at the same time, I was scared, mostly because I felt like I won't get a family here, that no one will be able to recognize me because I used to be a one-man person. I used to be a loner, right? But coming here, I'm like, I am Miss Popular. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'll take this opportunity to remind our viewers that you can ask questions of Bright. So, like I was saying, there's going to be 4 parts to this Instagram live series. The first part we're going to chat about, we've already chatted about introducing you, and also just kind of what made you want to study abroad in Canada and how that all worked out for you. So the first question here, this is an interesting one. Like you said, you had the year in Toronto where you kind of acclimatized to Canadian weather. And then how do you, like, in a sense, cope with winter, or how do you stay active in the winter? What do you do with your friends during the winter, that sort of thing?
Okay. I would like to point out something. I don't know if I can do that. So winter is like, I feel like there are different types of winter. Like it varies in each city. In
Hmm.
Toronto, winter is like Thunder Bay's fall because it's so warm, it's so cool. You can even go out, like you can walk. Coming to Thunder Bay, winter is winter. I don't know if I can say that. Winter is just winter. But then if you have the right clothing for it, you'll be able to have fun. You can do your normal, like go around your normal daily stuff, but just put on the right gears of clothes and all that stuff. Winter is winter. Winter is, I don't know how to explain this, but it gets to um okay.
I can help because I'm born and raised in Thunder Bay. So
Exactly, please do that.
the thing with winter in Thunder Bay is like it's a dry winter. And so obviously if it's windy, it can get pretty cold. And then but layering up and like having the proper winter jacket, a hat, a
Yeah,
scarf, mitts, all that stuff is really important to like dress for the weather, and you have to dress appropriately so you can stay warm.
yeah,
And then winter in other parts of Canada and other parts of Ontario, like you said in Toronto, it can be a bit more mild, but
yeah,
they have more of a humid winter or a wet winter. And
yeah,
so once you get cold there, especially if you aren't wearing the proper gear,
mm,
it's almost like bone chilling because it feels wet and damp.
yeah.
So that's like, I was in Toronto for just after Christmas, and it
Mm.
was freezing cold there, and I was shocked because
It
obviously
was?
growing up in Thunder Bay, I'm like, okay, like I know that we have cold winters, but then I went to Toronto, and what I had heard is like, oh, they have mild winters, like they're fine, and I was shocked because it was pretty cold, and I was getting cold, so I wore my full jacket, put my mitts and my hat on, my scarf on. I really bundled up, but at the same time, when I did dress properly, I could still enjoy the outdoors. Me and my friends
Yeah,
walked around downtown. We went to different markets outside. Obviously, we went inside for like our restaurants and
yeah,
stuff, but it was a great time
yeah. You still enjoy winter as long as you have the right dressing code.
for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. Alrighty, so being mindful of time, for those viewers that have recently joined us, I'll remind you today's Instagram Live is going to be a four-part series.
Okay.
So we're going to wrap up part one right now, and then when you join us again in one more minute, so on the new Instagram Live, me and Bright are going to chat about her journey to Canada, kind of what she was excited for, what she was nervous for, and most importantly, you're going to get to hear from her kind of how she grew her independence here on campus and how that excited her. So I'll
Okay.
pass it off to you, Bright. What were you most excited about before you left Toronto to join us here at Lakehead?
I was excited about the new experiences. Like, I was like, okay, what's going to happen to me? How is it going to be? Okay, I'm going to start 4 years university course. How is it going? I was just really excited. I was wilding. My thoughts were wilding. And yeah, I was like, man, I can't wait. So once I'm done like this, I'll become a graduate of Lakehead. I was so excited about my experience, basically in school, the people I'm going to meet. I thought that when I first came, I felt like I was the only black. So I was like, oops, okay. Most of my friends are going to be white. And I was like trying to embrace that fact. But then I got to school. At the orientation, I saw black people, and I'm like, okay, I'm not alone. All right. And then it became more exciting because I got to meet people that are from my side, and it was like, it was better. It felt more comfortable, more homely, right? And
For
then
sure.
I got to make some other friends, like friends from other countries too. So it was like a mixture of everything I ever wanted, like both black, both white, both brown. Like I'm like, okay, so I know everybody. I know at least 10 people from different parts of the world. Yeah,
For sure. And you wanted to kind of expand on that diverse friend group and like
yeah,
and not just narrow it down to people that in your view or like traditionally you would say are people
yeah,
that you're familiar with growing up back home in Nigeria and being familiar with your family and your friends there, and then coming to Lakehead, you were looking for that diverse experience to meet people from all around the world and kind of get that international perspective
Yeah.
from other people, though. So that's also really cool to hear. Um, and obviously, taking the next step in your education journey, that must have been exciting for you too. Um,
It
so
was.
what made you want to pick chemistry in a sense?
Okay, so
And I know we'll go into detail about this in the next section where we'll chat about academics, but just like touching on it, what made you want to take the next step in your academic journey from high school to university?
um I've always wanted to do something related to medical sciences. So I was like, okay. So I'm going to say my program is long. So I'm going to say it. So my program is I'm a honor student in chemistry with concentration in medical science. So you see that it aligns to my what I want in the future, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, that's the best for me.
Awesome. And then also chatting a bit about kind of maybe what you may have been nervous about before coming to Lakehead. And then we'll chat about kind of where you are now with those nerves.
Okay, so when it comes, I was nervous about because when I was in high school, when I was in Toronto, I wasn't struggling academically, but I had people that were like my support system and my friends. So I was like, what if I come here and I start struggling? Will I have that support system? And also, yeah, that's it. That's it. I was actually nervous about me failing and no one here to help me, no support system, because it's just going to be me. Because amongst all my friends, I'm the one that came here. So I was like, no support system. But now,
Sure.
oh my God, are you okay, Brett? Are you okay, Brett? Do you need this? Brett, do you need this? Do you want like now we wrote the exam online. I was
Mm-hmm.
so I was so like what's the word for it? I was so excited because I wasn't really excited. I was frightened, but I was surprised at the support I got from people. Everyone was calling, video calling, Zoom calling. Do you want to study together? Are you sure you'll be able to do this? Do you want us to write the exam together, like virtually? I'm like, wow, wow. Like literally, I was scared that there'll be nobody to support me. I was just going to be on my own. I was going to fail, and there'll be no one to know that I'm failing. But it just changed. Coming here and making connections just changed everything for me.
For sure, yeah. And so speaking to that a bit more too is the fact that you were in Toronto for a year, you studied at a high school level, and you
Yeah,
developed another support system. You developed a really tight-knit community of friends that were
yeah,
there for you. So whether it was an academic concern or even whether it was a personal concern, you could fall back on them and you could lean on them.
yeah,
And then coming to a new city, coming to a new school. That's a really common concern among students that they're worried about how am I going to meet people first of all,
yeah,
and am I going to meet people like me? And obviously, in your experience, you were able to meet plenty of new friends, and they've quite clearly showed that they're there to support you and they
yeah,
want to stay involved with you, even in the fact that we are working remotely and we're at our homes and we're not interacting in person anymore on a regular basis, just given the current situation. But there's a lot of anxiety that comes around that, and the fact that they're there to support you is really awesome to hear too. So your travel experience to Thunder Bay, you only would have had to travel from Toronto, correct?
yes,
So for that last little leg there, did you also use the airport pickup service when you arrived?
yes, I did. I did.
Awesome. Do you want to speak to maybe that experience? I know it was a shorter flight than maybe a typical student that would come maybe 16 hours plus of a journey. I know I've heard of very long journeys. I've heard of 30, 40-hour journeys, but
Yeah.
still that airport pickup service and kind of how you utilized it and what you thought about it.
Okay, so when I got admission into Lakehead, I got this form if I wanted airport pickup, right? I was like, okay, yeah, sure. So they basically what they do is they come, they pick you up from the airport and make your exiting from the airport comfortable, and then they take you home. And I have a surprising story. Okay, so coming from Toronto, I missed my flight. You wouldn't believe I missed my flight, and I was crying. I was like, "Oh my God, I have to pay extra." I just lost it. I just started crying, and then that's why I say Canadians are just so helpful. I just started crying, and then one of the person, she was like, "Okay, she's going to give me another flight, another boarding pass." I should wait for the next flight. And I was like, oh, then I have airport pickup. I don't know what's going to happen. So I found out that they are tracking the people, Lakehead University track your flight. So that she's going to call them and tell them that this is my next flight, so they wait for me. So said that she said that they were going to call Lakehead and then let them know that I missed my flight. So they gave me a boarding pass, and then I came to Thunder Bay Airport, and I saw somebody with my name, the board, and like she like brightened. I felt like I was the only one because I missed the flight, right? So it was just me, Bright Onogu, and I was like, oh my God, I'm a superstar already. And then she asked me how was my experience, the flight. I was like, it's okay. I feel like she was like wondering why I'm not saying, oh, it was so long. So I had to tell her that, oh, I came from Toronto, so I'm kind of like used to. So she was like trying to ask me. I felt like she was like, she's a student too, she's a Nigerian too. So she was trying to ask me, oh, how do you feel leaving home and stuff. I was like, well, it's been like a year I left home, so I'm used to it. And then she took me home. She made sure that I went inside, and she then said bye. And then she gave me this pack with stress ball. I still have it. Oh my God, that stress ball. Some noodles and Lakehead map and stuff like that. So it was really welcoming. I felt like important. I felt like, so I'm somebody.
For sure, yeah. And so with that that welcome package, obviously, you got some general material about Lakehead and probably about the city of Thunder Bay so that you could start learning and exploring and getting to know it a bit more. But then also they provided a few snacks in there, obviously. When you first get to your place, that entire experience can be slightly overwhelming, and that's why we established the airport pickup program, and we established it so that students, new international students, can access it for free, because we understand that we want to assist you in that last stage of making sure you arrive at your final destination, whether you're on campus or off campus.
Off campus, yeah.
So you were off campus, yeah. So we'll drop you off anywhere in the city of Thunder Bay, and obviously the flight to Toronto from Toronto to Thunder Bay or vice versa, Thunder Bay to Toronto, is only an hour and a half. So it's the last part of the short journey. It's a short journey to Toronto or vice versa. Obviously, it's a part of a larger journey for some students that are coming from further away around the world. But that process of assisting them and making sure that they can get to campus or get to their accommodation safely is so important.
Yeah.
So I see a question here. What are some of the housing rules, especially with visits from girls and guys and in the same rooms and vice versa? So that's a really great question. Whether you're staying on the Thunder Bay campus or the Aurelia campus, there's a few different housing options. So on the Aurelia campus, it's a residence hall style. So that means that two roommates share one washroom, but they have their separate bedrooms. And then there's 7 floors of that building, and then each floor is also organized based on some different qualities. So there's quiet floors, there's upper year floors for students that are in their 3rd and 4th year, there's a 1st year floor, and that also ties into whether that floor is typically a bit slightly louder in a sense, or they acknowledge that a bit of noise is fine. Or they even organize it based on like, I go to bed pretty late or I wake up really early. So it's really exciting to see that. And then on Thunder Bay campus, there's 3 options. So there's resident halls, there are apartments, and there's townhouses. So the apartments and townhouses, you have 3 roommates, and then you have a shared living room, a shared kitchen, a shared dining room. And then in townhouses, you share one bathroom, and in apartments, you share a bathroom and a half. So the second bathroom is just a sink and a toilet.
Yeah.
But it depends on what housing option you are in. And with the residence halls specifically, they also can be organized. Typically, they're co-ed, but there are options where full units are just select for girls or just select for guys. And then there's rules set in place based on that. So if it is just set for girls, then the entire community sets up those rules, and they work with their RA and their house presidents and resident services to establish if they have any particular rules. Otherwise, we know that you're independent and you're at the age where you can hang out with who you choose. So that's totally up to you. And then, of course, living off campus, same thing. It's kind of unique to each individual person and your roommates that you're living with too.
There's also a rule on noise making, like you can make noise up until 11 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can begin your noise if you want to by 7 a.m. So it's between 7 a.m. to 10. And then once it's that time, everywhere has to be quiet. You have to respect people's choice to be asleep or not.
Exactly, yeah. And as students are in their rooms, if they want to watch Netflix on their laptop or watch a movie on their laptop, I mean, it's just kind of you choose to watch it at a respectful volume after those times, but it's not like you have to stop talking after those times. It's not like you can't leave your room after that time. It's just being more aware of the noise that you're making, because you understand that people could be sleeping and they could be getting ready for class the next day.
Yeah.
So, and everyone has different schedules, and that's definitely why when you live on campus, we work really hard through the application process to make sure that we line you up with people that have similar needs and similar situations based on like sleeping and living. Alrighty, so I do acknowledge the time once again. We are at like roughly the 15-minute mark, so we're going to move on to part 3. In part 3, we're going to chat with Bright about her academic experience thus far in chemistry. But most importantly, we are going to chat about something really cool. The fact that she was able to do a DNA analysis of a mock crime scene, and kind of analyzing based on DNA who the victim was and what suspects may have been involved in that murder. So let's jump right into it, I guess, and we'll chat about how did you pick your program, and kind of where you want to go. So I know that the chemistry is not your end goal. I know that you want to continue your education past that. So how chemistry plays a role in picking, and why you pick chemistry for your future goals. Okay,
so my future goal is to become a medical doctor, a gynecologist to be precise. Right, you're welcome. But choosing my program, I already did biochemistry before, so I wanted to do something different, but something related to what I already know. So I picked chemistry with a major concentration in medical sciences, so that I will be able to, like, it's like doing both. It's like doing both biology, chemistry. It's like doing everything just to be able to have an insight into what I want to do later in the future. Yeah.
Awesome. And so obviously your dream job, as you said, was to become a medical doctor. Can you share why you wanted to become a medical doctor and kind of what you value about medical doctors?
I really do appreciate the profession. Like, I love their compassion. I love the way they dress, the way they make you feel comfortable when they're prescribing something for you, or when they tell you that, oh, you have something, but they make it seem like they make you feel comfortable to own your pee. Like, how do I put this? They make you comfortable, and they make you feel like it's not the end of the world. Let's say, for example, someone is diagnosed with diabetes. They won't tell you that, oh, it's gonna kill you ASAP. They'll tell you that, it could lead to death, but if you take care of it, you will be able to live for a very long time and stuff like that. So I love the compassion, the profession. I just love everything. I just love the way they dress, the way the charisma, the way they carry themselves, like
Yeah.
everything about the profession.
For sure, yeah, and I can appreciate the fact that knowing you from the Global Ambassadors Program and the compassion that you've showed within there, I think that this is going to be a great fit for you, of course. So chatting more about, I heard you mention the fact that you had already studied biochemistry, and kind of how you picked Lakehead's program for chemistry and how the major concentration helped you with that selection.
I enjoy doing both chemical and biological stuff. So when I chose biochemistry before, I was like, okay, I know a little bit about biochemistry. Let me do chemistry. This one, it's different. Like the major is really different. And then when I was looking at the courses I'll take, I was like, okay, it's not so bad. It's not so bad. So I just like, okay, let's go with this. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So then we'll chat a bit now that we're on the topic of your program. I would love to hear more about kind of what you like most about the chemistry program or something that you've done within the program itself.
Okay. What I love most about my program is that you get to do basically everything. You get to do the chemical aspects of the program. You get to do the biological aspect of the program. You get to even do like the mixture of both. You do biology, you do chemistry, and then you combine, you do biochemistry. Like it's like I told you, I did biochemistry before, but in this program, you are doing biochemistry as a course. Like so, it's like the mixture of everything. So yeah, why not?
Awesome. And then obviously with that mixture, you can still you can diversify and take courses based on your personal interests. So they have several course offerings that line up with what your final degree requirements are too.
Yeah.
So as promised, now I would love to chat more about your experience with what research you've been involved in on campus. And in part two, we chatted very briefly about the fact that you did some really unique research with DNA analysis. So I'll let you chat about that now.
Okay, so I haven't really been involved in any really like major research, but the little I did was DNA analysis. So basically, we've been learning about DNA and DNA analysis and how to extract DNA and stuff like that. So my prof, she gave us an assignment, a research project. So she gave us a victim that was murdered, and she gave us some sample DNAs, and she's like, we should look for who who murdered the victim, right? So it's just like she gave us a piece of cloth, like a jean cloth with blood, like just normal. It could be anybody's, but it could be blood of a rat or something. So she just put it there, and the project, there is no right, there is no wrong answer. She just wanted to see how we reason. So she put the stuff there, and she's like, we should extract the DNA and find who the killer is. So we had 3 people. We have A, B, C, and then the victim was X. So everybody had different DNA samples and all. So what me and my group came up with was that we found out that after purifying, after extracting and all that stuff, there were 2 possible people relating to the case. The first one was like, we're like 100% sure that A murdered X, right? But then the second one, B, there were some similarities. They were like, first of all, they had the same surname, and then the DNA was just alike. So it was like 1.5, because the first one we're 100% sure that, oh yeah, this guy killed this one, and no, A killed X, right? We're 100% sure because of the whole there was no like similarity when it comes to their their lineage, right? So but then the second one, B, was so similar because they had the same surname, and then having to having the DNA together could be that they were related, and also there were also possible means of what's it called, some mistakes, like okay, maybe our stuff was not purified enough, maybe we didn't extract the DNA well enough, so we gave our professor that two possible suspects, but we're so sure about the first one, but we're not really
For
sure. So
sure, yeah.
it was two. And then she was like, "Oh, it's not. There's no right or wrong answer. She just wanted to see how we think, how we're able to extract the DNA and stuff like that." So
For
the
sure.
program basically is just critical thinking. Like she just
Awesome.
wanted to see how we could think. Yeah.
And so speaking of that too is the fact that she were like the research project that you were given was kind of to do a data analysis of the DNA and see
Yeah.
based on the samples that you were provided of the mock crime scene,
Yeah.
after purifying and doing that entire process to finding those similarities. But then because she said quite clearly that there was no right or wrong answer, and
Yeah.
she wanted to know how you analyzed the data and what that process looked like individually for you,
Yeah.
or at least your group, there was that critical thinking aspect. And like that for sure will definitely help you within your field in the future and
Yes, exactly. Now I have an
securing
idea.
that job too.
Yeah, I have an
Sorry.
idea. I said I have an idea on how to do DNA analysis and stuff like that. So if anyone comes to me and says something that is not supposed to be, I'll be like, nope, I did this before. So you have to do this before you do this and stuff like that.
For
Yeah.
sure. And working in the medical field, obviously, the critical thinking and also the background knowledge behind chemistry and maybe how chemicals interact and how DNA plays a role in so many different things
Yeah.
will definitely be a great asset in the medical field.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so I'll remind our viewers if you have any questions for her right about chemistry, some of the courses that she's completed, her academic experience in general, I'd be happy to chat about that. I will pull up some questions here.
Okay.
Ooh, quite a few questions have come in. I'm liking some of these. Okay, so the first one. So for some of the students that maybe don't know or weren't there when we chatted about this, what are your plans after you graduate?
Basically to get my postgraduate work permit, work for a year, get my PR, then go into medical school, and then become a full-grown medical doctor.
Awesome. Well, we're happy to hear that. This is another one that I really, really like. What's your favorite spot? So I would like you to chat about your favorite spot on campus, but also your favorite spot in Thunder Bay.
Okay, so all right. This is funny. Okay, I actually do love. I don't know how to play, but I love watching people play soccer, like football, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoy it, and I know how to like. I enjoy playing it online, like video games, right? But I don't really know how to play it, like play. So yeah,
Yeah.
that I would say that's my favorite sport. Oh, sports, as in sports.
Spot, yeah. So like my
Oh,
favorite spot on campus is actually the study. I
oh,
love the study and especially after the renovations. But to be completely honest, what I like to do is maybe grab a drink from the study, like a tea, and then I'll go sit out at Lake Tamblyn in the summer when I'm at work and I'll take a break outside by the lake and it's just so peaceful and relaxing.
yeah. Okay. So my favorite sports. Okay, I thought it was sports.
No worries.
My favorite sport on campus I would say is the faculty lounge, or the
Hmm.
way to the faculty lounge, right? That's place because I feel like you can stay there, charge your phone, do some research, read, um, get to see the other side of campus, like the view from the lake. I don't know if you know where I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I do.
The way to
It's
the
really nice there.
yeah, it
Hmm.
has nice views. You can actually just stay there and with your earpiece just study and do stuff. Yeah. And
Yeah,
then
in the winter I'll go sit there too with my like coffee or tea. And
exactly.
instead of going outside, obviously, if I
Yeah.
didn't dress properly or I just want to stay nice and toasty inside, I'll
Yeah.
sit at that spot too. So that's one of my second favorites, maybe.
Okay, then my favorite spot on like in Thunder Bay, hmm, I would say, huh, this is hard because there's so many favorite spots. Okay, the most popular one is Watkins. It's a restaurant,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
You go there, you can eat and you can play games. So that's why it's like everywhere. Like I could just go there just because I want to play games, and I could go there because I want some um, wings. So yeah.
So this question, how has Lakehead assisted students during this time? So this kind of speaks to COVID-19 and the coronavirus.
Yeah.
So I can speak to that. I know that we actually recently launched a student relief fund, a COVID-19 student relief fund. And from our community, so from our faculty, staff, potentially fellow students, as
Mm-hmm.
well as alumni at this point, and then also community members that have found out about it. We've raised over $100,000 for Student Relief Fund, and our current students are eligible to then apply for that relief and receive funding to help pay for maybe groceries or help cover
Yeah.
rent that month.
Yeah.
But then recently, actually, it was just announced. So I just received word from the president of the university that Lakehead is actually doubling that number. So
Oh
Lakehead is
wow.
chipping in another $100,000. So
Wow.
now the current student relief fund is sitting at $200,000, which is amazing because um, obviously we acknowledge that this is an unprecedented time for Lakehead
Yeah.
and for people around the world, and we want to be there for our current students to support them. So for any of our current students that are having any issues, we have a website. So it's lakeheadu.ca/about/coronavirus, and there's a direct link to apply for assistance.
Yeah.
Right now, I'll advise for that website, the number stated on the website only accounts for donations up to a certain point, and it
Yeah.
hasn't populated up to the 200,000 yet. But obviously, when I get word from the president that we're at 200,000, I can share that for sure.
Okay. Did you
Awesome.
also talk about the food bank?
Pardon me.
The food bank.
Let's chat about that actually in the next section, getting involved, because I can
Okay.
talk about like volunteering and like where the Global Ambassador Program hopes to be at one point.
Okay.
I'm just being mindful of the time, so we are at like the 15-minute mark. So we're going to end part 3, and we'll be back. We're going to chat about getting involved on campus and how Bright has become one of our global ambassadors here on campus to represent Lakehead. So
All
we'll
right.
be back in just a minute.
All right. See you guys.